Hi and welcome to another Arwen's Meanderings video. As you can see today, we're not out sailing. We're in the middle of the coronavirus lockdown, and so I'm going to take this time to learn how to service my own outboard. It's not something I've done before, so I'm getting quite worried about this, but it's time to learn some new skills. For you sailors out there, you'll already know how to do this, so this video is aimed at those who, a bit like me, don't know what they don't know about outboard servicing. I'm going to split the video probably into two parts. So in this part I'm going to do an oil change on the engine, I'm going to change the spark plugs, and then I'm going to do some general greasing and maintenance of the engine compartment and all the rotating parts. And then in the second video I'm going to look at dropping the lower section and doing the impeller change and also the gear lube change, and then we'll take a look at just cleaning out the carburettor as well. So it's like a full annual service. So here is my outboard. As you can see, it's a Tohatsu 4-stroke 3.5 horsepower standard shaft outboard. It's a 2013 model. Odd scratches on the cowling, as you can see, but it's been serviced every single year until last year when I didn't do it, and I've always drained the fuel out of it and overwintered it properly, but again didn't do it last year. Contrary to the popular belief that I'm always using my outboard, I actually don't clock up more than about 12 hours a year with it being motored. I have it, as you can see, on a outboard maintenance stand. This is a stand that I built a few weeks ago, and you can find more details about that on my blog. It's mounted on individually braked caster wheels, which have a diameter of 75 millimeters, and they can hold a weight of around about 50 kilograms, which of course is plenty. Over here on what's doubling as the workbench, which is an old garden shed unit, I've got the tools that I'm going to need for today. I've got the spark plug, some pliers, some spare starter cords, and then in the box here I've got the impeller, I've got the gasket for the water pump, oil drain washers, and various other tools that I need. I've got the gear lube just over here with the pump, some marine grease just over here next to the coffee cup, and then down here out of the sun I've actually got oil, some WD-40 and some carb spray and spare fuel. I've also got a little feeler gauge so I can set the gap between the electrodes in the spark plug. So let's get started then. I'm just going to pull the kill cord immediately so that we don't have the possibility, as rare as it is, of the engine actually starting. The first thing I'm going to do is start on the spark plug, and the spark plug is located just down in here if you can see it, and I've got my fingers on the boot here now. I'm going to remove that piece by pulling on the boot. Now it's important not to pull on the actual cable, because there is a danger that you could pull the cable and actually pull it out of the boot itself. So when you take it off, always pull it on the boot mechanism. There you go, that's what I feared. The boot bit is separated, but it's okay, we can fix that, that's not a problem. So we can just clip that straight back on. That was the rubber bit which has come off, so that's absolutely fine. The first thing I noticed straight away, there is a little bit of browning around there, which doesn't seem to be right at all. I think when it had its last service, there was a problem. If we come around to this side and we take a look at that oil sight glass, it's rather full. It's certainly over the top mark. I'm expecting to find a spark plug coming out which has got some oily deposits on it. There seems to be a lot of oil in that engine. So we'll take a look now and get it out and see what it comes out like. Fortunately, someone has just started up a chainsaw about 5 houses down, so I may have to redo this commentary later on if it doesn't come out properly, but we'll give it a go. But I do apologise if you can hear the whine of a chainsaw. When you take a spark plug off, it is an anti-clockwise turn, and I like to pull up if I've got to break a little seal rather than push down. And pushing down you can suddenly slip or whatever. Pulling up is a bit safer. So that's looking quite wet. So we're going to have to put this against a chart, see what it tells us. The end of the spark plug can tell you a lot about the engine. Now I don't know whether you can see down there, but there is a bit of grime and dirt around the seal where the gasket of the spark plug fits. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get in there and just give it a little bit of a wipe down and just clear that out, trying to make sure that I don't get anything in that hole. Here's the new spark plug that we're going to put in. It's an NGK DCPR 6E, which is the correct version according to my manual, and it comes with the gap between the electrodes preset at 0.8, 0.9 millimeters. Now, I remember my dad showing me how to change spark plugs in his car once when I was very young, and I vaguely remember he said screw them in by hand, all right, and make sure under no circumstances that the threads cross over. And I remember the words disastrous, expensive and a pain. There are little instructions on the box here. You should secure the last bit with a torque wrench. I don't have a torque wrench, all right, but I know that this one is a crush washer. So when I've screwed it in hand tight, I then do a half turn with the socket again, and that will be the correct torque on it. Then before we do anything else, we will just check the inside of the boot area. Now that boot area is actually looking very clean. You may not be able to see it on the camera, but I can see definitely shiny metal down there. I can't see any burn marks or anything like that. What we will do is we'll give it a quick squirt of WD-40. Not a huge amount, just a little bit. Dad always swears by WD-40, I trust him. We'll just put a little dab of that down there. Okay, and then just tap out the excess. Give the boot a bit of a clean. Now when you put the boot back on, what we should do is hear a definite click. So we'll put it on. Okay, and that should go like that, and then you should hear a click. There's the click, that's much better. All right, and that's the spark plug now done. So the first thing to do is to locate the yellow oil cap filler and remove that, and that seems fine, and the O-ring seems to be okay as well. So the next thing to do is to locate the oil drain nut, which is this one just here. Okay, let's hope that we can get a bit of leverage on this. Aha, that's better. What we're trying to do here is to make sure that the oil that comes out isn't milky. If it was milky, that would indicate, I think, that there's water getting in there. There's no metal flakes in there, so nothing's wearing or rubbing inside the actual engine block, cylinder block area. Okay, there we go. That looks like that's the last lot coming out. And very gently thread that back in. So that's the oil drained. Okay, I've measured out into this jug 10 fluid ounces of oil, and so we're going to pour that in now. Straight away you can see the oil gauge filling up there a bit. Now what's interesting is that that is a nice light brown colour. The stuff that came out wasn't. What we will do, just very quickly stick our finger in the oil, screw that. That O-ring seems to be absolutely fine. We'll just put a bit around those threads there and wipe the oil off my fingers a minute, and then pop that back like so and tighten it up all the way. So that's done, and then we will just give it a very quick wipe over. Okay, so we've done the oil change and we've done the spark plug change, and now we'll just do some general greasing of things, and then we will actually fill the bucket and give the engine a start and see how well it's doing.